I'm going to briefly explain Artosis leaving, what that means for him and me, and future stuff. And then we'll do a Q&A on Twitch with Twitch chat. If you're watching this and you're not on Twitch, then you're on my YouTube. Please subscribe, turn on alert notifications. It'll bless the algorithm so you can find more of my content. So I've actually known this for, I think, a year now that Artosis was going to leave. Artosis is leaving Korea. I am not leaving Korea. So the reason why he's leaving is pretty simple. He has 4 kids, 2 twins, and then an older girl and a younger girl. Lovely kids, but Seoul is not a great place to raise that many children. Okay, it's an Asian megacity. I mean, he lives in a pretty good part of town, a big apartment for Korea, but I would say it's much better to raise a family where he's going. He's going to, I think it's called Prince Edward Island. It's some island on the very, very northeast of Canada. PEI, as it's, I think, more commonly referred to. So he's already purchased a house. First of all, I want to say I'm super happy for him. I think he's going to do very well there. He's going to continue to stream on Twitch. And yeah, I mean, I'm sad. I'm going to miss him. But I want to make a couple things clear right away. ASL, nothing is going to change. One of the reasons why we started recording that remotely instead of me going to his house is we wanted to experiment with him and me casting not in the same room together. And I think you guys would agree that the ASL casts have been good. I don't think they sound really any different from the cast that we do, or the cast that we used to do when we were in studio together. By the way, he's not leaving right now. He's going to leave at the end of the year. So with, I think, just a very small number of exceptions, you're still going to have GSL like you normally do this year. ASL, nothing changes. What does that mean for GSL? To be totally honest with you guys, I don't want to do... Well, first of all, I should say GSL is not confirmed for next year, but that's not cause for alarm because GSL is never confirmed for next year this time of the year. It usually gets... They've pushed budget into it around November. So that's always been the case for every year. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily going away or anything. Not to cause alarm. For GSL cast in the future, to be honest, I personally, and I think most of the viewers, would not want to have a GSL without me and Artosis doing it. So what we're hoping to do is, assuming that GSL is confirmed again for next year, I would prefer to do something like ASL, where we set up a separate Patreon. You know, it would just be crowdfunded, and we would cast it and have it produced and all that. So that's my intention for the future. It would be separate from ASL because ASL is its own show. We'd have to do something separate. So that's what I want to do. But again, we have to wait for GSL to even be confirmed for next year before we can even go to that. So if you see an announcement requesting support for a GSL Patreon, that will be the time we know we can actually do it remotely. So what does this mean for us in the future? Artosis and I are both still interested in casting Stormgate, which is the new Frost Giant game. If I can ever get enough sponsorship money from stuff like Tasteless Land Party 2 or other things in the future, I would be happy to fly him back to Korea for stuff like that. I imagine that we will still be doing some international events, kind of like you guys saw with Streamer Royale that we did. We'll be doing stuff like that in the future. I'm sure there'll be, you know, assuming that Stormgate is really good and it has an esports scene, I'm sure Artosis and I will be doing international events with that. So it does not mean that we're not casting ever again. That's not the case. And ideally, this would almost have no impact on you guys because we'd still record GSL, and that would be supported on a Patreon, and we would still record. We're still recording ASL and putting that on Patreon. And I guess that's everything. We can do a Q&A now if you guys have any other questions. All right, this is Artosis Canadian now. Artosis' wife is Canadian, so he's moving to his wife's neighborhood where she grew up. Would I stay in Korea even if GSL was not renewed again? Yeah, I would stay in Korea. Can I still maintain my work visa without GSL? I still cast in Korea. I cast Valorant out here. So even if I wasn't casting StarCraft 2, I'd be fine. The short of it is I'm not leaving Korea, or I don't have plans to for now. When I stay in Korea, if North Korea invades, I have to cast to Kim Jong-un. Cast him winning every StarCraft tournament. Guys with AK-47s pointed at me. How long am I planning on staying in Korea? I would just say I'm not planning on leaving. Would I be open to casting GSL Live with somebody else? No. I don't want to do it with anybody but Artosis. I think that, you know, for this this show specifically, I think it's really just an Artosis tasteless. I don't think the viewers want that. I mean, obviously, you know, if Stormgate comes out and it's really good and there's stuff out here, that would be a different story. Am I going to visit him ever? I'll visit him. It'll probably be a couple years, but I'll definitely go check out his area. Are we planning on casting Stormgate? We will definitely be doing live events for Stormgate. It probably won't be anything in Korea unless he's flown out here. Are we going to cast ESL? We haven't done anything with ESL in a couple years. Would I cast with a Muppet that looks like Artosis? How often do we hang out? We hang out a decent amount. He lives on the other side of Seoul, so we don't see each other that often. But, I mean, we work together, so I see him all the time, basically. Do I still think Korea is the esports capital of the world? Yeah, but other regions are starting to get very good. There's definitely more esports stuff here, like live events, than anywhere else in the world. Artosis said that grocery stores in Korea suck, but never elaborated. Do you agree? I think that tiny Asian grocery stores, I think, don't have a lot of the stuff that I think Artosis would like to eat. If you go to, like, Home Plus or Emart, you can get anything. And if you watch this video and it was on YouTube, please subscribe to my Twitch and subscribe to the YouTube. Twitch.tv/tastelesstv. All that YouTuber shit that they normally say. Subscribe, turn on the bell, all that stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Let me know! What are you thinking? Tell me!